Okay, there has been calls from civil society organizations demanding that the Senate President of the 10th Assembly, Godswill Akpabio, should step aside for now. Waiting happen. General election of 2019. I know why they break and so that I'm going to understand this matter. General election of 2019. Oh yes, Akpabio lost that election. But the returning officer played in Akpabio's favor. If not for the intervention of the resident electoral commissioner of Akwa Ibom that time, if not for his intervention, Akpabio would have been declared winner of that election. So the argument now is, why tell Akpabio to step down or step aside pending when this whole matter is decided? Because as we speak, a court of competent jurisdiction, a court of competent jurisdiction have just sentenced, have just convicted that returning officer. So for your screen, they don't convict and say, he committed electoral fraud. But if not for the intervention of the resident electoral commissioner, that electoral fraud would have stood. But did he commit the electoral fraud? Oh yes, he committed the electoral fraud in the favor of Akpabio. So is Akpabio culpable in this crime? Yes or no? Answer is yes. Because you know, go just do Akpabio that kind of favor without money. Money must have exchanged hands. So people now calling for Akpabio's stepping down as Senate President. You understand? Pending, I don't know whether the matter go reach Supreme Court, pending when it is being decided by the highest court of the land. Are they actually making sense? To me, I think, oh yes, because these people that are leading us, they should lead by example. So, if the person that worked for you, for your own interest in 2019, has been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction, in the sense that say you know do the right things, you understand? He played in your own favor in that election. Then you too, you are part of the crime. Yes. Now, did you not pay him? Oh, okay, he just started to play in your favor. On one leg or one leg. So now the matter now hold on to happen. And make I see clear on and so that I can understand this matter. I like the evidence where they tender for court follow for the reason why that returning officer that has now been convicted was convicted. Because they say, look at it. Look at the result. If they wanted to rig the whole thing, the whole senatorial district result with just one local government, they must say, look at it too. This was the padded result that came from who? The returning officer that has now been convicted. But because the resident electoral officer said, no, those manipulated figures were removed. And that was why Akpabio was not declared winner of that election. But did he attempt to rig there? Yes, he did. And the person that he used has been convicted. So what should not happen to Akpabio? He should not step aside, pending the logical conclusion of this matter, maybe by the Supreme Court. Well, he has brought his people to come and defend him. Of which they must. You cannot defend the legality and not sound stupid. Oh yes. And I go here with the man. They remind the man, say, okay, now I like follow intact your man. Now I like bring the evidence what they use now, convict this man what they convict now that played in the favor of Akpabio. The man said, hey, for the fact that Akpabio did not win that election, nobody should ask for his step. Can you imagine? See how they are. Make gonna help me watch this there. Something of response, right of response. They want to respond to waiting the other people don't talk. Make gonna help me listen to what they talk. Then come to the comment section and tell me if Akpabio and his spokespeople are making sense or they are just mad. Watch this video. Let us meet in the comment section.
First in 2019, on the 23rd of February, when the elections were held in Akwa Ibom Northwest, Akpabio lost the elections because Professor Ogban announced Chris Egbenyong the winner of the election. And one of the grounds of Godswill Akpabio was that 61,329 votes were not added from Esin Udim, which is his own local government. And that if those votes were added, he would have won that election. And that was why he went to the tribunal. He lost at the tribunal. He went on to the Court of Appeal and he won at the Court of Appeal. Why did he win at the Court of Appeal? They found merit in his case, and therefore they said he should go for a rerun. But remember, he had already been made the minister of the Niger Delta. And so as the minister of Niger Delta, he weighed his options and decided that he wasn't going to go for the rerun. And that was how come the rerun was held, and Akpabio remained the senator-elect. Because as at when the elections were nullified, he was no more a senator. So for someone to now come in 2025 to say that a man that went through the tribunal, lost at the tribunal, won at the Court of Appeal, and was the one that was said to have been in fact, was rigged out of the election. That was the allegations. And for the fact that he won at the Court of Appeal, clearly showed that he had a case.
The reason, ostensibly,
but the judgment is not with you.
Well,
I have read the judgment.
The reason he did not win, according to INEC, and according to the resident electoral officer who was in charge and who was tracking all those things, the reason he did not win was because those votes that were falsified in his favor could not be added. Well, and when he went to the tribunal to challenge, tremendous effrontery, to challenge the results, he lost at the tribunal because the tribunal said there was unparalleled thuggery.
So how did he win at the Court of Appeal?
Well, when the
Court of Appeal found out that those votes were mutilated. They found out that INEC mutilated those votes, and those votes, and the result of a synodem was nullified. And because they found out,
the appeals court upheld the tribunal's judgment.
They did not,
but they ordered a rerun in one local government.
You are quoting the appeal court judgment upside down. The appeal court said the elections were nullified, and that a synodem, they would have a rerun in a synodem local government.
Yeah, that's one local government.
That vote was enough to nullify the election.
The tracking was across 9 local governments. The tracking of the alleged fraud was in 9
The truth about it is that Professor Ogban was convicted for not holding up to the integrity of the electoral process, and he was convicted of not holding on to the electoral integrity because Godswill Akpabio was shortchanged. But he was not a beneficiary of the election.
But INEC, the resident electoral officer,
why would you be talking about a resident electoral officer or the judgment of the court?
They were very clear because they submitted evidence, and it was based on their evidence.
But you see,
that
there is no judgment of that court that had Godswill Akpabio. You see, what is happening here, Charles, we must be very honest, is that there's a campaign of calumny against Akpabio.
I don't think
people just want to be
I don't think in this instance
no, it makes no sense. Somebody was not a beneficiary of an election. Somebody did not win an election. He was already a minister. And you are saying that in 2025 he should step aside for elections of 2023 that has no relationship to 2019.
Of course it has a relationship.
What is the relationship? What's the relationship?
The relationship is that if, according to those who the Electoral Commission,
yes,
he was the beneficiary of that alleged fraud.
How can you be a beneficiary of an election you didn't win?
It could not.
Does that make any sense?
It could not. Their argument is that they tracked it, but it could not be concluded. They caught it before. Hold on.
Don't make sense.
You're interrupting.
Okay,
they caught it before it could be concluded. That was why it did not reach a logical conclusion.
That is hypothetical. He wasn't the beneficiary of the election. He chose not to go for the rerun. He chose not to go for the rerun. He remained the minister of the Niger Delta. He served his term as the minister of the Niger Delta. He ran a fresh term to the Senate. He's now the Senate president. And some people come and say because somebody has been convicted by the Court of Appeal, he should step aside from the seat. Oh, come on now, Charles.
They looked at the documentation.
Political.
And the documentation, according to INEC, was very clear.
I am shocked. They
came up with 61,000 votes.
61,329 votes of Akpabio
was trailing by 38,000.
It wasn't that he was trailing. The appeal court
and there were handwritten votes taken from the PDP to the APC.
In favor of Akpabio because they knew those votes were votes that he was changed of. Are you not in election matters, Charles? Except you're telling me the appeal court is not the highest court anymore. In election matters, the appeal court is the Supreme Court for House of Rep, Senate, and House of Assembly. It's only governorship elections that get to the Supreme Court.
What?
And the Court of Appeal ruled in favor of Godswill Akpabio and said they should go for a rerun. For a man that was not declared the winner of election, why would we be talking about this if not for a campaign of calumny?
It's not a campaign.
It is a campaign of calumny. What the
CSOs are.
Did you hear the way he was speaking yesterday? He wasn't even convinced of his own facts.
Well, I heard it.
You are even going to the details. He had no details. He was bereft of any details of what had gone on. It was obvious that he was a hired hand, just brought in to come and
saying that the reason they're calling
president
for him to vacate his position,
yes,
and they're saying step aside, not step down.
Step aside for what?
He says step aside
for an election of 2019.
They said that
it's laughable.
No. They said that it is important for him to vacate that position.
On what basis?
For the sake of public confidence.
On what basis?
That the argument is that if he remains in office, that would undermine democratic values. And that essentially, there is a question that they raise, which is having been, because that's what the tribunal... Let me just make the point.
Yeah.
That is what the tribunal found.
But he went to the Court of Appeal.
Hold on. The Court of Appeal
found had a problem.
No. The Court of Appeal had a problem.
You are not even reading the judgment.
That's the judgment.
The judgment, yes. What did the Court of Appeal say? The Court of Appeal said he was shortchanged.
Look.
Why did they
their argument is that
I'm happy you have it. I hope you're scrolling it well.
But the fact that...
and look at it now. Hold on. Look at it. Look at what they have said. Upon conclusion of the evidence by both parties, both learned councils were ordered by the court for their final... Look at it. Just go on and you will see where it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I'm trying to explain what was the decision that was...
You're taking me off the judgment.
No. The issue here...
Okay, Charles, I'm listening.
...is both the judgment and the call by the CSOs for the Senate President to step down.
The call is based
to step aside. The question they said that it raises is this: having been a confirmed beneficiary, and they draw that conclusion because the person who essentially, according to INEC, supported him in trying to transfer votes to him. They took votes from the PDP to the APC.
I understand.
That having done that,
a professor that declares the PDP
Senator
winner
Akpabio does not have the legal or moral standing to contest for a seat in the 10th Assembly because of what happened in the 9th Assembly.
Charles.
For over a decade, this has been the birthplace of innovation. Innoson Vehicles is a testament to resilience, employing international best practices to create more than just a car. Every vehicle here tells a story of durability, fuel economy, and safety. Crafted with the African spirit, the Nigerian heart. These vehicles surrounding me embody the unique concept of regionalization, each one designed to cater to the tastes and preferences of our people. From the streets in Nigeria to the terrains of the Sahara, these vehicles are designed for our roads, for our people. This is more than a vehicle. It's a symbol of our progress, our resilience, our collective success story. Your feedback drives us to continuously innovate and improve. Innoson Vehicle, the pride of African roads.